Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series on homeopathy with our beloved Dr. Pachegaonkar. We began last time with the composition of the body and Dr. Pachegaonkar's talk on the cell. Today, what is our subject?
We'll just continue further.
We'll continue further. Good.
As everyone knows, the cell is the basic unit of our human body. And we have seen that cell has common things like cell membrane and nucleus and then the intracellular fluid and then Golgi apparatus and so many things floating in it and working as a smallest unit. Now, when we study further, the cells originating from the same development from embryo, depending upon their function, they assume structure. So that structure facilitates the functioning of the cell. So in human body, we have different varieties of cells. Depending upon their function, they have assumed the structure, but basic structure is same, like your cell membrane, nucleus, the Golgi apparatus, intracellular fluid, everything is just same. But there is vast difference in the structure depending upon their function. For example, in epithelial tissue, the epithelial cells have different function. They are cuboid, they are a bit solid, and they form the lining of mucous membranes. These are all the linings around every organ. The linings are of these epithelial cells, and these epithelial cells again vary from the location of this mucous membrane. Like we have seen that where they are cuboid, they are like complex cells, columnar epithelial cells. Then there are epithelial cells in mucous membrane where they are the cilia, sort of fibers around it, so that they transport the things easily. They secrete the mucus as well as they transport the thing. For example, like in our respiratory tract, these bronchioles, they are lined with epithelial cells where this mucous membrane has cilia, so that little fibers are projected out so that the mucus is easily transported to the exterior. So when we expectorate, definitely the expectoration comes with undue debris or undue excess mucus, and it is circulated and it is expectorated out. So depending upon the function, we have epithelial cells different in different organs. Now, like as we have seen, epithelial cells are mainly giving the form or the limitation to the organ. So the epithelial lining prevents like our skin. Skin is an exterior thing. But internally also, say in mouth or intestinal tract or urethra, urinary tract, everywhere there is a cell mucous membrane which lines the organ. So these epithelial cells, in that squamous epithelial cells are there, cuboidal epithelial cells are there, longitudinal, these cell membranes, they define the organ and lining and they protect. Then the next variety is connective tissue. Connective cell, this tissue has cells where there is lot of intercellular matrix or fluid, and generally they form the main body of the organs, and they contain the nutrients, then they transport because of functions. And there are again varieties in connective tissues, the cells in connective tissue. For example, like blood is again a connective tissue. because blood, like our human body has just 5 liters, around 4.5 to 5.5 liters of blood, but it is constantly transporting things in the whole, circulating things in the body. And then it goes to the kidneys and gets filtered, then it goes to the lungs and gets oxygenated constantly, and then it comes to the heart, and then heart pumps it to the even the most remote peripheral place through arteries. So this again is a type of connective tissue. Now the cells in connective tissue and the cells in epithelial lining, though the basic structure is same, but depending upon the function, they assume a different shape. And once they are like, it is epithelial lining, it will again multiply into only that. The epithelial cell will not get transformed to connective cell. It's a wonderful arrangement. And same way we have even muscle cells, muscular tissue. They are type connective type, but the muscle cells have different function, where they are longitudinal linear cells, where they can contract and relax. And with these bundles, even the muscles and tendons, they contract and relax. So for musculoskeletal, what we call for movement, and these cells are very important, muscular cells. Same way, even the heart muscles, it's again a type of muscle cell. And then we have the finest thing is the nerve cells, and they have a different structure. Nerve cells, they have a body, and they have a sort of a linear, tentacles like things which communicate. So each neuron, though the basic structure is same, cell membrane, nucleus and all, but the structure of the neurons or the nerve cell is such that they communicate with other cells, and that communication is so fast, the whole network, and it is again centrally governed, so from our brain system. And through these nerves the impulses are passed, and then through that the functioning of musculoskeletal, the connective tissues, or even epithelial linings, everything is governed in such a way that everything works in close harmony. The epithelial lining, the connective tissue, the muscular tissues, as well as the nerve cells, and all these 4 types of tissues in our body, they work in wonderful harmony. And then each part, they do their part so efficiently that even if there is a small proportion of antigen or something which is toxic to the body, immediately it is sensed, it is analyzed, and then what we call a reticular endothelial system comes into being. The antibodies are formed, or even the protection defense is roused. The body, as a result, body may develop fever, body may develop antibodies against it, so that the toxins are sometimes carried to the lymph node, and they are taken care, quarantined for a while. And it's such a wonderful network it has, that all these tissues comprising of different cells come together and function as an organ. So each organ has tissues which are like epithelial tissue, connective tissue, nerve cells, and even muscle cells working together. And this whole unit, like there are millions of cells of different varieties taking part in this activity, and many times there are thousands of functions continuing without even we being conscious of it. We are not conscious of it. Like suppose by chance we get entry of some antagonistic element like a bacteria or a poisonous element or anything, our body immediately reacts, instantly reacts. And then this is what we have seen. And the communication between the neurons also becomes so fast, and it is so organized that, like, for example, if you just sight one dangerous snake, our system recognizes it, and our system recognizes it and immediately foresees the danger out of it. Either you will just run away or chase the snake away, and it is so instant that the steroids are secreted in our system, becomes alert, and musculoskeletal tissues will be stimulated, governed, and you will sense the danger and you will protect yourself. So this is how each cell, each variety participates, and it's a well synchronized functioning in healthy body. And that is what we say, that even in our surgery book, the first sentence written on the chapter of wounds is, healthy tissue is the best antiseptic. That if the tissues are healthy, the reaction or the response to any danger or infection or antigen will be so efficient that it is all resolved without having any damage to the structure. So this is how each cell participates into the defense in our system.
I know that we've discussed cancer before, but what happens when the cells go awry?
See, this is how it happens. In general, each cell multiplies. Once it is matured and its term is over, we can say, it multiplies into new cell. And it's a constant regeneration going on in our body, be it blood cell, or be it epithelial lining, or be it muscle fiber, or whatever. It is constantly regenerating. Under what we call renovation is there constantly. But this process is again governed centrally. Sometimes what happens under delusion, this multiplication of cell goes beyond control, because for cell multiplication also there is a definite pattern. The cell has to mature. Once it multiplies, each component has to mature. The nucleus has to be formed. It should be well matured intellectually. It should mature working in complete harmony with the surrounding cell, and there should be logistic support, the blood supply, nerve supply, and functioning. So both should be once matured, then it can think of multiplying. This is a normal physiological process. But under neoplastic, what we call neoplasm tendency, what happens? The cell becomes a cancerous because it starts multiplying in advance without even getting matured. And that is malignancy, where the cell or a group of cells starts multiplying without even getting complete maturity. And naturally, when it is not being matured, then it doesn't develop complete nucleus, or it goes to the beyond the what we call possibility of even differentiating. That at one stage, if it is advanced stage of cancer, we just can't differentiate or identify which cell it is. The nucleus is not seen, all components of the cell are not seen, but it continues to multiply. And naturally, it will, for multiplication, from where it will draw the energy? From the body itself. So if one tumor becomes malignant and the cells start multiplying, the even proper blood supply will not be there, and if or it will draw more blood supply from the body, so definitely at the cost of other organs and other functions. So body comes under stress, and there is a phenomena where body will recognize that such phenomena is going beyond control. Therefore, and there is a hypothesis that sometimes body feels that as a prophylactic process, as a defense, body starts multiplying it, and that doesn't come under control. So it is beyond control of the body. The multiplication goes on. Again, it sucks the energy and resources from the body. So that area where it is multiplying also can't function normally because the cells are not matured. So functionally, they are just defunct. They are just like foreign body, or we can say a parasite. And parasite growing without control of the central system definitely brings the crisis, and therefore even the erythrocyte sedimentation rate gets increased. So if cancerous cell is somewhere in the body and it is progressing, the whole body recognizes the crisis, and then we find that the erythrocyte sedimentation rate also gets increased. So body is aware of it, but this phenomena can't be controlled. Maybe that's what we say, it is a result of hyperimmune response which goes beyond control. And therefore, hypothetically, the doctors try to give immunosuppression where this hyperimmune response comes under control. But it again becomes a palliation because we are not taking the central system in confidence. So what happens? Central system naturally will try to control, because there is always a feedback mechanism that depending upon the amplitude of the antigen, body has to respond. So it has to always match. But if there is a hyperimmune response, then body has a feedback mechanism that it has to be monitored. It has to be moderated, and it has to be internally done. But externally, sometimes they have immunosuppressing agents which are inoculated or given to the patient, and then we try to control it. But internally, body has a mechanism to recognize it and then remedy it.
And then remedy.
Yes, yes.
But it has to catch it early enough.
Exactly. If generally what we say is undifferentiating carcinoma, where in histopathological study we can't differentiate what the cell nucleus and all properly. That means it is undifferentiating, means it has advanced too much. But if it is differentiating, that means body is trying to control it. And if you just give support on the basis of totality, we have some homeopathic remedies which definitely can empower the system to make the feedback mechanism efficient and then contain it, control it. And that would be the radical cure for malignancy. If the patient bears vitality, we have seen it reversing in many cases.
You said about, I don't know the word you use, but regeneration of the cells in the body. Does it change with age in the person?
Yes, it changes. As age advances, the capacity or the need of multiplication and regeneration gets altered, because there is certain limit. And therefore, especially even cell to cell, the regeneration or multiplication capacity is different. For example, nerve cells, they don't regenerate as fast as epithelial cells. Same way, the connective tissue, like alveoli, the proper lung parenchymatous tissue, it can heal by resolution. So even 1/3 liver is there, it can regenerate to form the complete liver function. But at the same time, the heart muscles, there again regeneration is poor. So it's like this. According to age and according to location, the capacity to regenerate would be different.
Location in the body.
Location in the body. As I said, like nerve cells,
Yeah.
the nerves, then regeneration is relatively poor as compared to other epithelial cells or connective tissue cells.
Can anything be done to increase the reproduction of cells in elderly people?
Yes, it is again the feedback mechanism. You see, what happens, feedback mechanism guides, actually monitors it. Where the regeneration is needed, it is essential, body has can sense it. And when it is needed, then body will undertake it with the feedback mechanism. If that feedback mechanism is under problem, if aberration is there at that level, then the regeneration will not be efficient. So our medicines do the same thing. We just give the medicine so that this feedback mechanism is corrected, and once this feedback mechanism is corrected,
okay.
body can undertake it.
Yes, yes. Very good. Thank you so much. Namaste. Namaste all. Join us again next week for our continuation of the composition of the body.